Hey everyone, Rob from Southgate Media Group here. Before we get started with this podcast, we have a quick message. If this is your first time checking out the show, we love that you found us and we really hope you enjoy it. What we have to say is for the subscribers. If you enjoy our shows, would you please donate to help keep these going? We don't want to have to put traditional ads on these shows, but this does cost money. So we really do rely heavily on donations. To make a donation to the show, please go to our website, www.southgatemediagroup.com. Go to the page for the show, and in the upper right-hand corner is a donate button. It takes you right to PayPal, and you can donate whatever amount you want. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody. And now, on with the show.
Tech people, welcome back to the Tech Files, a Southgate Media Group podcast dedicated to all things heroes and Heroes Reborn related stuff. I am Lilith, and on the hunt for specials with me, as always, is...
I'm the good one. I'm Ricky.
I'm the evil one. It's okay. It's my namesake. I blame it on that. Anyway, up for discussion today is episode 408, Shadowboxing.
Yes.
And Ricky has, like, the world's smallest amount of notes, so that's a good thing. We are going to be out of here quick. So let's just jump into the recap with some tech specs. This episode originally aired on November 2nd, 2009. It was written by Joe Pekaski with a new writing partner, Misha Green, and it was directed by Jim Cord.
I have the synopsis. It says, though Peter's new ability is helpful in his job, it is trying on him until he uses it to help Emma. Claire learns that the sorority rush attack happened because of something her father did. Sylar's battle to control Matt's body moves into dangerous territory.
Oh, yeah. Okay, the only things that we need to know for important people, places, and things is Mr. Taylor and Christopher. So be on the lookout if we mention them, which we might not because they're actually pretty asinine. So let's get into the recap.
Who is Christopher? I don't even know who...
Christopher, if you watch The Sopranos.
Okay. Fair enough.
No, it's a little boy, Emma's nephew.
Oh, no.
Because
Anyway.
we get her backstory.
Yeah, cool.
Exactly. Where do you want to start?
Don't know. Let's start with Emma. Yeah, let's start with Emma and Peter. They're pretty quick.
Emma, what's good, Emma? What's good?
We don't really. All we learn is like her kind of, the crisis of faith that she has, because obviously of her disability, but kind of Peter is a spark to kind of reignite the fire in her. And, her younger nephew has died, and in this episode, she helps save a young girl. So obviously, that spurs her back into kind of action. It's a pretty straightforward story. And
but if things would have gone wrong, they could have sued her in the hospital to high heaven, son.
Yeah, but they still had Peter there. He could have just, as Charlie was talking about in the live tweets, Peter was cheating throughout the whole thing, but yeah.
Yeah. And I was kind of glad that his healing ability actually had like a negative impact.
I think that was a good thing that they were bringing up, is his own health on the line for helping others. And even at the same time, Peter, he'll do it anyway, even though it hinders him. So yeah, it hinders him. Oh, I'm on a roll.
You are, sir. You are. So yeah, but okay, so the reason why Emma even had to be there and why the hospital was so busy is because her train went off the tracks.
Yeah. Maybe that's the comic book. Maybe that's from the Rebellion series in the graphic novels leading up to this. Maybe. Probably not. But a nice little Easter egg. Who knows? Anyway.
She reconnects with it and she decides, I don't know. Does she even decide? She goes back to her apartment.
And she picks out the Dr. Coolidge. Yeah, definitely.
So lame. But anyway. Sylar and Matt, maybe?
Yeah.
I was going to say Sylar because, then Sylar's at the carnival. It's just so confusing.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, they change him, basically, don't they? They change him back into Nathan, so you don't really have to get confused because, obviously, you've got Cy Nathan and you've got Parklar. Yeah. Well, basically, Cy Nathan wakes up, freaks out, and flies away. And we don't see him till the end of the episode where he falls in on his brother and asks for help. I'm surprised that he didn't stab him with something when they hugged because, Peter and hugging doesn't work. Hashtag hugs for heroes. And then basically I've put in my notes Matt/Parkman. I obviously mean Sylar/Parkman. They're basically just trying to outsmart each other. I do like, there's one point where Parkman explains to him what happened to his body. He says, well, that's just crazy. And I really like that kind of meta-narrative that's going on because, it is very crazy. And yeah, it basically...
Like, he's trying to get on a plane? Like, oh my god, this was so bad. Remember? Because, then they took the gun, and he's
but
Matt, just kill yourself with the gun. Don't try to put yourself in jail.
Well, it seems like, I don't know, it seems like obviously Parkman kind of doesn't have as much sway as Sylar did. The roles were reversed because obviously Sylar was able to take over, and it doesn't seem like, obviously Parkman's always had that kind of confidence issue, and that's probably why he's not able to be the dominant kind of the Firestorm Matrix. He can't be the dominant personality basically. But I do like the way that they kind of build up to the ending, which is he starts off trying to get on the plane and he's just got the gun, so they have to leave and drive because of he's on the no-fly list, and it seems like Parkman's kind of getting the upper hand, and Sylar's just like, well, I'll do something that you won't do, and he just kills Hank. Bless you, Hank.
Poor Hank.
For trying to help. And then,
that's why you don't help people.
Exactly. And, then Parkman kind of just not lays, but he kind of stays behind and just kind of just fades into the background until the very end where, he's able to trick Sylar into writing on the note, and then ends up with him being shot, which is the third kind of time I think Parkman's died in the show. The first one was obviously him getting thrown out the window. He survived. The second one was him getting shot at the end of season 1. He survived. Did he die in between then and now? I think he might have.
Something else happened recently. I think it was season 3 where we were like, they could have.
Maybe the bomb,
They teased it and then it didn't happen.
So, and, I think it would have, even though it kind of didn't feel, well, obviously you watch it happen and you're like, he's not dead. He's not dead. If it was Parkman on his own with, Sylar, being this, next to him, literally next to him as a person, I could have seen him dying there, but because Sylar's in him and Sylar's such a crucial character for the writers, he's not dead. But I think it would have been a really nice ending for Parkman. He sacrifices himself in order to kind of save the world. What do you think?
Exactly. That's what I was hoping for Matt, because at this point, he's literally just a carrier of evil.
Yes. He's like Rosemary from Rosemary's Baby.
Yes. This was a mess. This storyline was such a mess. And the way that it gets resolved is even messier.
Definitely. So,
Rebecca, Claire, Samuel,
Gretchen, all that kind of goodness. The first thing I want to bring up, and I've said this many times, when HRG was HRG, it was a big thing to learn his name. They kind of teased it, with Sandra saying, well, why didn't you just help, don't call him Mr. Bennett, his name is, and then she got interrupted. And then kind of finding out his name was a big deal. And here it's literally, come on, Renee, let's go.
Exactly.
Come on. Oh, God. But yeah, there's a couple of little things that I want to bring up. I like the kind of Claude flashback. Or not flashback, I like the Claude callback because obviously, Becky's got the same power as Claude, and HRG's like, I had a partner who was invisible, so I know that 20,000 or 100,000 volts of this will make you come to, and I'll be able to see you. And then obviously, just as he's about to do something, people walk in and she disappears. What did you think about the kind of story, the backstory to Becky? Did you like it, or did you think it just felt very convenient for the point, the case of being convenient?
Convenient plot point is convenient, definitely. But I did like it, and I did like the kind of allusion to Claude, because mentioning Claude is always aces in my book. So, but I don't know. It's weird that she ended up with Samuel, and that's kind of all murky and convoluted because he's not really her uncle.
Yeah.
And so I'm just that's extra creepy now.
I really liked it. Even though it felt convenient plot point, it's convenient. It kind of gave more of a purpose to Becky's character as opposed to just being the kind of the side henchman who's been sent out on a job, which is, you know, what kind of Ray Park's character is at the moment. He's just that kind of right-hand man. He's just getting sent out on missions to do stuff. This is actually kind of like what a quote-unquote blood feud between them, even though, you know, she's a minor character. So yeah, I like that. There's a line where he says, you know, fear is easier than understanding, which I think is a big kind of thing for, you know, the kind of Heroes Reborn, which is coming up. And kind of Samuel says that he wants to stay hidden, but at the same time, he's not really that hidden because of, you know, the carnival. And we've said it before, I really like that kind of aspect of it. You know, they can be hiding in plain sight. And it kind of ends with HRG. He's basically on Samuel's tail at this moment. The compass has made its appearances every now and then, and it's obvious whenever someone with power holds it, it kind of starts directing them into places. Tracy in the Jeremy episode finally looks at it, and you think, you know, she's on her way, quote unquote, home. And yeah, it's not just that; it's he's putting up the clippings on his wall for his wall of weird, and at the same time, kind of Peter's kind of taking it down because obviously Peter's at that kind of end of it where, you know, before he wasn't really empathizing with people. He was just seeing people as these clippings on his wall. You know, I saved 35 people, and now he's kind of taking them down because he's had this kind of epiphany with Emma. So yeah. Actually, what did you think of Gretchen left?
Oh, it's like, oh, thank God. They were having problems, but then at the same time, Claire wanted to keep her safe, and she didn't want her dad to be, like, basically have, like, any reason to, like, erase her memories.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense why she left.
She's also been exactly like her dad. She's not telling her anything and just telling her, oh, just stay indoors and you'll be fine. And she's been very flippant. Like, I can see why Gretchen would leave. She's like, you know, Gretchen's fearing for her life, and here's Claire going, oh, you know, here's a way to spot her. You
Here's
use
some
the
baby powder.
baby powder. Yeah, it's, you know, Gretchen at the end of the day isn't driven away by Claire. She's driven away by the situation surrounding Claire and Claire's powers. At the end of the day, you know, her being friends or whatever they were with Claire kind of puts her in danger because, you know, it's that whole superhero thing of it doesn't matter if you can't beat the superhero because you can always get the next best thing, which is, you know, their family or their loved ones. And at this point, Samuel's trying to sway her to a point of view. And it seems like it doesn't seem like he's doing anything because, you know, Bennett comes in and she kind of stands next to him. But then at the end where he kind of pushes her over, it seems like she's kind of not swaying towards Samuel's way of thinking, but she's kind of, you know, thinking about it because obviously who would know her better than someone who has powers themselves? They're pushing that whole, you know, HRG doesn't really know what everyone's like people with powers are about because he doesn't have powers, and they kind of played with that before.
Yeah, so that's been kind of his running theme, and I love that eventually we kind of really get the big picture of it all.
Definitely, yes. So, I think that's it. Do you have anything else you want to bring up?
No, not really.
Sweet. Let us move on to the review. So, who was your favourite character?
I like Samuel for just messing with things.
Yeah.
Twisting it. Because isn't this the part where they're at the car, she wants them to get away, and then he shoots anyway, and like, Claire ends up falling?
Yeah, and then and then HRG kind of pushes her over when she goes to try and stop him from doing stuff. Yeah, he's getting on that kind of Mama Petrelli kind of level of manipulation. You know, he's injuring his own people in order to make himself seem better in the eyes of the others. But yeah, character interactions.
This pains me, but I'm gonna say Peter and Emma.
Oh, so
scandalous!
So scandalous. Yeah. How come?
I don't know. I like that it was this conversation that kind of brought him around from being this save everybody robot. Like, I just didn't like seeing Peter like that because that's not Peter. His empathy is literally like why his ability was what it was to absorb the feelings and people around him. And even though he was like a goody good and kind of a wet blanket, I still like that particular Peter for the sense of the story. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And they were trying to bring this back, especially when they kind of relate him to Joseph. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah,
I felt like we were finally getting back on track with Peter.
Yeah, I am probably going to go with Samuel and Claire, because I really like him kind of twisting the knife.
Showing up all creepy in a room.
Showing up very Haitian-like, you know, just, you know, At least he had the decency to knock. I really like his kind of, the way the way he turns a phrase and the way that he kind of manipulates people into kind of seeing his point of view. It's
teabag.
Yeah, it's very teabag. It's very cult figurehead like. I really think he's got a good character. So yeah. Any particular scenes stand out to you?
I like how Gretchen finally realizes and decides to leave. Because that's a normal people thing. And in Heroes, a lot of people don't react normally to it. So that was kind of refreshing.
I'm going to go with the scene of Parklar dying. It's him sacrificing himself trying to sacrifice himself for the greater good of mankind. And, even though what's going to happen, he's not going to die because, he survived 5 gunshots before. That's it, really. Lines. Any particular lines that you want to bring up?
Yeah, Noah to Claire. He's not going to erase Gretchen's memories. He's coming with you, so if Becky comes near, she won't be able to stay invisible, okay? Claire. Oh, that's actually a really good point.
I'm going to go with, come along, Renee. No, I'm joking. I'm not going with that. I'm going to go with, it sounds like Claire Bennett's recruitment is a lost cause. You know me. I'm the patron saint of lost causes, which is Lydia and Samuel interacting. So, yeah.
All right, that graphic novel, The Painted Lady.
It's basically Lydia telling Amanda the story of how she joined the carnival. It starts with her conception, talking about her father, her discovery of her powers, being rejected by her family and taken in by her sister, and learning about her powers and her powers being her seeing her ability as a burden and not a blessing. She met Joseph, which made her feel good. And she kind of sees that her sister wants a kid, so she leaves Amanda with her sister and runs off. And she kind of sees the difference in the way that Samuel is running things. And she doesn't want Amanda to repeat the same mistakes as she did. So yeah, that's the end of that.
All right. This issue was written by Oliver Grigsby and the art was by Dennis Calero. Wow, we haven't seen this in a long time. But he will be making an appearance for quite many issues to come. The Easter egg is a behind-the-scenes photo of Don Olivery. So yeah.
The following people joined us on the live tweets. They were either tweeting, retweeting, or faving during the live tweet. We have Mr. D. Foster, Will Pedro 3, Shine Die, English Idiot 101, and Mike Schmidt 09. We also have our favourite English idiot sending us feedback. So yes, Charlie, she says, first she apologises for not being able to live tweet the weekend before. She was at the Reading Festival, which is a kind of a big kind of music festival over here. Yes, she says she enjoyed the first 7 episodes of Volume 5. She's only seen them once, even if it's way weirder than the first 4, which is saying something. Shadowboxing had some good scenes, especially the Matt Sylar scenes. I liked a lot of these in general for the volume, but they were brilliant in this episode. I love Matt basically trolling Sylar at the airport and with the car. Of course, Sylar tried to take control, and Matt got brave and decided to have himself and Sylar shot to stop Sylar, which I liked. Claire's story at the uni or college didn't go anywhere really, but it was cool to see Becky's backstory though. And we finally got the Haitian's name, but no spectacle made of it. That was quite disappointing. Emma and Peter work well together and their end scenes are quite sweet, but Emma needs more involvement in the story really. I do like her power though. Overall, a good episode and a good cliffhanger on what happens to Matt. Thank you once again, Charlie, for sending in your feedback.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. All right, so I guess it's time for them shameless plugs. Looks like it's time for some shameless plugs and self-promotion. We'll start with the show contact info. We here at Primatech Files love listener feedback. If you would like to get a hold of us, we have a ton of ways. You can email us via primatechfiles@gmail.com. You can leave us a private message or interact with our posts over on facebook.com/primatechfiles. We live tweet 2 episodes per week every Saturday starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. For more information, be sure to follow us on Twitter at primatechfiles. You can also find us on Clamor, Tumblr, and YouTube by simply searching for Primatech Files. If you enjoy this podcast, be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes. What's that? You don't have an iTunes account? That's okay. We're on a lot of podcatcher services such as Stitcher and SoundCloud. All you have to do is search for, you guessed it, Primatech Files. We're also on Libsyn, and if you want to follow our RSS feed there, all you have to do is go to primatechfiles.libsyn.com and bookmark the site to stay up to date with this podcast. Libsyn is spelled Libsyn, just in case you were wondering. We look forward to interacting with you.
If you love our podcast, be sure to check out Southgate Media Group's iTunes provider page to see a list of what other podcasts are hot and trending in our network. Or you can take that one step further and visit southgatemediagroup.com, where you can find a full list of our 80 plus podcasts, along with weekly blogs and information about all the hosts. With so many podcasts that cover everything from anime to wrestling, there's sure to be tons of podcasts that can interest you.
Hey guys, you should know by now that you can find me on Twitter at Lilith Hellfire. If you have a Tumblr, be sure to check out it's lilithhellfire.tumblr.com. And of course, be sure to swing by my blog if you are a pop culture junkie or comic book geek at littlepopculturevulture.blogspot.com. I also host several other podcasts on the Southgate Media Group network. Some of them are The Flashpoint, Queen Consolidated, and Channel 52. So if you are into, obviously, DC comic book related stuff, be sure to check it out.
You can find my writings at tvbinges.com. It's a place for all your binge watching needs, and you can also create your own TV binge and we'll help promote it. We do a monthly binge watch, which you're more than welcome to join in. Just go to their Twitter at tvbinges just to find out more information. You can find me on Twitter at RickyJDS. That's RICKYJDIAZ, or Z if you're American.
Time to wrap it up. We want to thank you for joining us on our discussion of episode 408, Shadowboxing. We hope you found it informative and entertaining, and we hope you appreciate our new brief approach to recap.
Yes, definitely. Download the podcast, save the world.